Mannequins are appearing all over my town. I don't think it's a prank anymore. On r/nosleep by Reddit user Abalone T. It was a prank. We all thought it was just an elaborate prank. The sun rose and the park was filled with mannequins. What else was the city supposed to think? Cops roped the place off, people laughed, the newscasters had a great time making jokes about the clothesless fashion show. That was Monday. By Tuesday, people were dying. It was a bus found in the middle of the road just to the east of the park, sitting in the middle of the road, the door locked shut. The cops pried it open and blood spilled out, dripping down the step onto the pavement. The bodies inside had been flayed open, skinned, nothing left but stringy muscle and thick, yellowed fat. They didn't tell anyone that, of course, and the reporters kept things kosher for any kids that may have been watching, but my cousin is the local medical examiner here in Copperville. Was shit. Her name was Ginger. She was 42 and she loved the color pink. The most girly pop woman you've ever met, except she handled dead bodies for her 9 to 5. I always ended up getting the dirty details from her when weird cases came in, but she was freaked out this time. Can you blame her? 13 people, 2 of them under 16, skinned. Their flesh was missing. Can you blame her? 13 people, 2 of them under 16, skinned. Their flesh was missing. I worked the late shift Tuesday. I'm not cool like Ginger. The most interesting thing that ever happens at the Stop and Shop is when one of the locals comes by drunker than usual. I caught someone pissing in the energy drink cooler last autumn. So, yeah, it's just normal gas station clerk shit. But that Tuesday, I was freaked. Everyone in Copperville was freaked. It was almost the end of my shift when I realized someone was in the parking lot, just standing. I cleaned the bathroom, came back out, still there, standing by the pump, totally still. I pushed the door open. "Hey!" My voice carried through the silent dark. The figure didn't move. "The hell are you doing out here?" A car pulled in, headlights catching on the shape. It wasn't a human. It was a mannequin, just like the ones in the park. Cold fear washed through me. I backed into the gas station, closed the door, and locked it. The car paid at the pump and left. No one else came by. When I was brave enough to look outside again, 20 minutes later, there were 3 more of them. One of them had something plastered all over it. I thought it was just paper mache at first. Then another car pulled in, headlights blaring over the forms. This one didn't stop, just picked up speed and went out the other side of the parking lot. I didn't blame them. In those few moments when the light was catching on the form of the mannequins, I realized it was flesh on it. Missing skin from one of the poor bastards on the bus. That's when I went into the back and grabbed my phone. Yeah, I've already called 911, but look, I'm not sure if that matters. By the time I came back out to the front, there were about a dozen in the parking lot, all of them crowded close to the door, 5 of them wearing human flesh. It's clinging to their false faces like a grotesque mask. Empty eye sockets, coagulated red, clinging in thick globs. I tried attaching a picture, but it won't load. I think the bots are kicking it out because of the gore. If I make it home tonight, I'll post an update. And if not, I don't know. Maybe I'll end up on Ginger's table tomorrow. My wife died in a car crash 3 years ago. Last night, she unlocked the front door and told me to run. By Reddit user BigEmotion4963. My wife died 3 years ago in a massive accident on the highway during heavy rain. I didn't see the crash myself. By the time I got there, they had already covered the car with a tarp. I remember the police officer telling me not to look, but I did anyway, and I regretted it immediately. After that, my life just became a blur. People say grief changes your memory, and maybe they're right. Because for the past 3 years, every single night at 8:32 p.m., I still look towards the front door. I don't think she's coming back. but it's just the exact time she used to get home from work. It became a traumatic habit I never managed to break. Yesterday, at exactly 8:32 p.m., someone knocked. 3 slow knocks. I remember checking the clock first, actually laughing a little bit at the timing. I figured it was a delivery driver or one of the neighborhood kids messing around. And then I looked at the people. My wife was standing outside. Same dark coat, same black handbag. Her hair was still damp like she'd been caught in the rain. Exactly how she looked the day she died. For a second, my brain genuinely stopped working. I just stood there frozen, staring through the glass. And then she smiled. It wasn't wide or unnatural, it was just normal. Like she'd come home after a completely ordinary day. And she spoke right through the door. "You're taking too long." That completely broke me. Those were the exact words she used to say whenever I'd leave her standing on the porch. I don't even remember unlocking the deadbolt. I just remember suddenly she was inside the house, walking past me, leaving faint wet footprints across the hardwood floor. I couldn't breathe. I kept staring at her hands because she still had her gold wedding ring on. She walked into the kitchen like nothing was wrong and asked why the lights were off. Same voice, same movements. I actually started sobbing and asked her where she'd been. She looked confused, laughed softly, and said, "At work. Where else would I be?" God, part of me wanted to believe it so badly, but something felt horribly wrong. It wasn't obvious, just small things. Tiny pauses before she answered my questions, smiling a fraction of a second too late, blinking less than a normal person does. It felt like watching something trying very, very hard to act human after only hearing descriptions of one. Then she looked towards the hallway mirror and It's okay if we leave this in the video, but the way they wrote this right here, it's just... Then she looked towards the hallway mirror and completely freeze. I'm gonna read it how I think it's meant to be read. Then she looked towards the hallway mirror and completely froze. I noticed immediately. She wasn't staring at her own reflection. She was staring at me. Specifically at me. Then she quietly asked, "Who's standing behind you?" My stomach dropped out of my body. There was nobody behind me. I spun around instantly anyway, but the hallway was empty. When I looked back at her, she wasn't smiling anymore. She looked absolutely terrified. Her eyes were locked on the empty space right above my shoulder. She whispered, "Don't let it learn your face." Every single light in the house blew out at once. Total darkness. I heard movement in the kitchen, fast, heavy movement. Then footsteps. Not one set, multiple, running and circling the room way too fast to belong to a normal person. I grabbed my phone, fumbled with the screen, and turned on the flashlight. The kitchen was empty. My wife was gone. The back door was standing wide open with wet footprints leading outside into the dark. But there was something else on the floor too. Another set of footprints, longer, distorted, and they stopped right behind the exact spot I'd been standing in, like something had been looming directly behind me the entire time, just watching us. I didn't sleep last night. I've been sitting in my living room with every light on, waiting for the sun to come up. But tonight, at exactly 8:32 p.m., someone knocked again. 3 slow knocks. And this time, I can hear my wife crying on the other side of the door.